Hey everyone, thanks for joining. More people. So good to see new faces and also regular faces around. I think one more minute and we are good to go. Till there, be sure to check the notes, the comments here, as Tiffany also invited you to add to the roll call, and I pasted up the agenda, the agenda link. If you don't have it, please comment and I'll post it again. There's no problem there. And we are good to go in a bit. We have a long agenda today, a lot of great topics to attack. To be honest, I'm very excited to see how many things is happening. We had a rough time to decide, I mean, not to decide who's joining or who's sharing, but how many things we can share in one call and not to be, over the top. So yeah, with that being said, I think we're good to go. If there is anything, let me know in the comments. I'm trying to go over them too. But without further ado, let's start. Again, we have the agenda in the comments. There is a roll call at the beginning. No topic decided this week, but for the next one for sure, we're gonna see what to ask you about your favorites or maybe your location, something to recommend us. But starting with the updates from the Interledger Foundation, I do want to give the floor to our Chief of Programs, Chris Lawrence. Hopefully he's in the call and can take the lead on sharing more updates from our side there.
Hello,
Chris,
everybody.
let's see.
Nice to see everybody. It's a good turnout today. Pretty awesome. Um, yeah, just quickly with a few updates. I started to put some notes in there too. So one, probably big news is that our two kind of flagship grant programs for digital financial services and the ambassador program closed on the 30th and 31st of August. So we are in a review process for that. It'll probably take us between now and the end of the year to sort through that, announce folks that get those that funding and to do next steps. So some patience if you're, I know there's probably a few people on this meeting that are in that applicant pool. So it'll take us a little while to work through that. And that's a good thing. And we'll also probably towards the end of the year and certainly in the new year be announcing what the when things will be active again and reopened and so on and so forth. Our next gen education grant letter of intent is a still open process. So if any of you have relationships with universities and they think they might be interested in that, I will go ahead and put the link to that in the notes in my agenda section there. Um, Happy to take any conversations on that if there's any leads and so on and so forth. That's kind of always open. And then the kind of a bit of an exciting news is that we have been, and I've asked Aiden, one of our ambassadors, to improve my line in the agenda, but we have been, our dynamic coalition on digital financial inclusion, which includes people from the W3C, which I see is a note coming up, has been accepted for 2 on-site sessions at the Internet Governance Forum's annual meeting this year in Saudi Arabia. So we have been invited to present that work as part of that. So that's pretty exciting. Aiden will make my bullet point nicer, and I'll go ahead and add in those links. And then, of course, like everyone else, you probably hear, we're just now also summit prep. All right, that's it for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote a colleague of mine from engineering, Timea. Summer madness is replied by summit madness in all form, positive and a lot of work and everything. We are excited about it, but we'll have Vinil in a second give us more updates. Till then, I'm gonna go a bit over the community and developer advocacy updates here at Interledger Foundation. We do a lot of work, as you know, to conferences, and many times we did ask you where would you like us to see us, as we try to cover different communities geographically, but also technically. And in the next month or so, I think like a month and a half till the next community call, our team will be present at State of the Browser, which is a conference in London. I think it happens next week or so, but I'll add the correct date and link in the agenda. There, our colleague PPK will be around. So if you see him, go say hi, get a sticker, so learn more about what we do here. At the end of the month, Alex and myself will be at the W3C meetup, the TPEG meetup, and we are part of the web monetization, web payments, where we try to work on web monetization as a standard, as you know, and probably we'll have at the end of the month more update about the work done there. It definitely takes a lot of time, we knew this, and it's a lot of work, but as you know, we want to make this as a standard in the web world, and definitely worth it to take us there, the whole journey. And at the beginning of October, we're gonna head out to New York City for Smashing Conf. Again, PPK will be there, hopefully myself too. We don't have a talk, but we are gonna be around. So we are part of their sponsors. So if you see us, we'll have stickers for sure, and we can talk more about the work here at Interledger Foundation. If you know any other meetup or gathering of tech people, but not only, anything related to finance, inclusion happening around this, let us know. We're more than happy to go to the local events too. Or if there is something on like bigger or larger for next year that you think we should participate, we are more than open to suggestions for next year too. Probably there are more things going on in October, but as Chris said, after mid of October, we are headed to Cape Town. And I'll invite Vinil, my colleague, to give us all the details of what is ILF doing in Cape Town, South Africa.
Yeah, this is a quick update. As Chris mentioned, there is a lot of prep going on for the summit as we speak. And we'll have more information about the speakers and the schedule this coming week. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, so as of now, we were working with the speakers and the schedule. So we'll have more information on that in the coming call. Yeah. That's it from my side.
Thanks, Vinil. Yeah, check the links, register. If you're not from South Africa, but you want to join, plan that trip ahead, will be super cool. If you're in South Africa, come to Cape Town, will be the best event of the year. Quoted by me, of course. Of course, a bit of bias there, but don't tell anyone. Hackathon also open, Summit also open, links in the agenda. Okay, we are headed to some project updates, and I think we have Max to give us some updates from Rafiki.
Hey everyone, yeah, just gonna give some Rafiki updates. I'm gonna share my screen in a second, but yeah, the big kind of last month thing was our work week that we had in Cluj. And yeah, we have like almost 30 people present in Cluj and Apoka at the Breakpoint IT's offices. We had like, yeah, from of course ILF, from Breakpoint, from GitHub. It was great to have people from PCH as well and JOPEC. So we had this big group all working on Rafiki. And yeah, I will quickly just share screen. I think we're gonna have you're gonna have a more, let's say, nicer post with like images and stuff about the work week, but just to quickly give an update on what we did. We were split up because of how many people, and obviously we have our writers, we have people working all sorts of parts of the organization, or Rafiki, and the integrators. We split into 7 different tracks. So during the week, the last week of August, we split into 7 tracks. One of them was multi-tenancy. Basically, we're having an option. We want to make Rafiki be able to be compatible with, yeah, for multiple tenants. So this fits really kind of nicely, and this comes from the JOPEC case where they're putting Rafiki basically right on their switch, which means that you'll be able to manage. You can have a single Rafiki that several different organizations will be able to manage their own resources. So it kind of ties in well with a lot of some integration cases that we have. So we're working on that. kind of a big push here. Of course, because we had Abdullah from JOPEC join us, we were able to, continue doing the JOPEC integration alongside having him in the room. So that was another track, just actually writing the code for the integration. We had five from PCH. People joined us all the way from Mexico, so it was great to have them in the room, and working on the integration together. There were some features that they needed in Rafiki that they were able to contribute to, which was great. They're going to give an update here in a little bit, so I'm sure they'll mention some of the, let's say, high-level things. But yeah, that was another track. We, of course, like, other than Rafiki source code, we have so many web properties everywhere, right? From the summit sites to all the documentation websites to essentially a lot of stuff that surrounds Rafiki and the ILF in general. So we had another track focused on updating the site, making the summit schedule, making sure our blogs are all there and able to be used. So that was another track. Performance in general, like, of course, we've just been building out the system, kind of, it's just trying to get all the, let's say, basic functionality down. But until now, we haven't really had a chance to test how much we can, how much performance we can push in Rafiki. So we were just kind of laying down the basics of making sure that we can measure everything performance-wise, and we have some quick wins and kind of make plans for the future. So another track in Rafiki Money. Rafiki Money remains to be called the Rafiki Money, our test wallet, but probably changing in any case. We had issues with our Rapid API. It's kind of the payments and the KYC, let's say, backend API that we were using in the test wallet. But it's a sandbox environment, so it's rate limited, and we're moving away from it and using GitHub's systems for it. So it's gonna, especially when it comes down to hackathons, we're not going to have problems with a lot of people joining at once and using the test wallet. So that was a great another track that we're continuing to work on. And final thing, but of course very important, we had a big sort of overhaul, right? It was, everybody was in the room, can organize the structure of the documentation, and thanks to the writers and help from the team, we have new the structure of documentation has changed quite a bit for the better. I think as an integrator, administrator, or a developer, you can kind of see right away the difference already in the content on the sidebar here. So please let us know what you think of this, especially as one of these let's say parties. So that was another big push. So again, thank you to the writers for taking a lot of concepts, putting together is really difficult, and making them in a nice structured way. It's hard. So thank you for that. And we had a release, but again, it's more like kind of technical stuff. So if you want, you can look at the updates posted in the community forum. But otherwise, we will have another blog post, I think, about the work week, just to more kind of going into what we did. But that's basically the updates for Rafiki. That was quick, but I hope got a good.
Very thorough.
Okay.
Yeah, very thorough. And I do invite everyone to go over your notes. Tiffany linked them in the chat. Way more details there, so you can follow everything that Max already joined. And it also reminded me with the documentation update and all that. I did miss to mention earlier from like community events updates that we are getting ready here for Hacktoberfest. And I know some people are split with this because some things, like, it's too much noise around it. But as we are an open source foundations, our software is open source and we support this. We do want to encourage everyone to contribute. And stay tuned. We are soon going to release our announcement and our page dedicated for it. But if you want to contribute, check already our GitHub repositories, give them a start to be informed with everything that happens there, the updates that we make, and get back in a few days. We will have ready the preparation for Oktoberfest with links for each repository, first good bugs, or testing, it was mentioned a lot, or check the documentation, because literally while Max were presenting the new structure, and I know how much work the tech writers did for it at the work week, we are literally seeing them all day there. Go ahead, check it, say, let us know your feedback. Does it make sense for you? How is it? Is something that you see, explain better, or just give them a shout out after you go over them, because again, it was a bit of effort there, and we do appreciate them a lot. We don't have written updates from our monetization team this week, and that's because we are in a private beta testing session with our web extension. And if you're thinking what is a private beta, is our first beta version that we reached with the web monetization extension, and we wanted first to reach to our community or contributors that are close to web monetization to gather their feedback, to make sure that it's smooth, or to see that everything works fine. If you still want to test it right now, with all the disclaimers that I mentioned, reach out to me, Ioana@interledger.org, and we'll make sure to give you all the details needed. But in a couple of weeks, we're going to make this private beta into an open beta to the community. We chose to have it directly to those that are aware about Interledger Foundation or work closely with us, because it's not something for a new user yet. It will be, but at the beginning, we are going to work with people that already know about the technologies here at Interledger Foundation. And because I mentioned a lot of testing related to web monetization, I'll let Fynbos people, I think it's a call, to give us more updates how that was on their side, because I think we give them a bit of work.
Yeah, that's understatement. Yeah, that's been the bulk of the work on our side around the wallet, dealing with issues that have come up from Webmo and just new user enrollments as a result of that testing. We like it because it's helping us to iron out things that we hope to have all ironed out before the hackathon and the summit. But yeah, that's our update for now. That's where most of the work is at the moment.
Good, I think. Hopefully not too much work.
Yeah, I mean, if
good to...
anybody's waiting on us, please keep pinging me on Slack. I've got a couple of Slack workspaces I'm following. There's the foundation one, there's the community one. We've got some shared channels with people doing testing. If you send us a Slack message and we haven't replied, just don't worry about being rude. Just ping us again. I know we're also in different time zones to a lot of people, so we sometimes miss something overnight.
And for sure, as engineers, we do appreciate finding the bugs earlier than later. So yes, it's a lot of work. Yes, it's a lot of struggle sometimes, but it's better to have them. Also have a flight here, trying to join the community call. I'm safe, don't worry. It's just trying to sneak on the call. Apologize for that. And yes, Ada mentioning Adrian, I think it's at least one time to mention on the call that you're doing a great job supporting our request there. Thanks so much. And putting up with everything.
I wish I could take all the credit. I'm just the traffic officer. A lot of the work's being done by Don and Matt, so who have gone home already, I'm afraid. But they, I'll pass on the compliments. Thanks.
Yes, please. Okay, I see we have a raised. Is it for this the raised hand? Add the question, please, in the chat, because we're going to move to a bigger section of the call, which is the deep dives, deeper dives. I saw raised hand. Write in the chat and we'll address the question for sure. Okay, for today, as we mentioned earlier at the beginning, we have two special deep dives. We will have one for the People's Clearinghouse, the project that is happening in Mexico on integration with Interledger, and where several of our colleagues spend a week at the beginning of August. And I'm definitely curious to hear more. I am not sure though who's gonna take this over. Max, is it you or you're delegating someone else?
We can
We
we
have-
can do it if that's fine.
Oh, Roberto.
Roberto's here. Roberto's
see.
here. He's got it.
Yes, sorry, it's just a few names there and I wasn't sure, but yes, Roberto. Prego.
Okay,
Gracias.
so
Thank you.
we will be several people commenting. We'll do it very quickly, right? Just if we can, we will present very quickly. Okay, so I don't know if everybody
Yes,
can
please.
see the screen.
It's now loading. Yes, works.
Right. So okay, great. So this project is called the People's Clearinghouse, right? Because many of you may not know exactly what we are. We're gonna do an extremely quick introduction, and then we'll pass to what has been going on in the last months at the Clearinghouse. So basically, we want to build. Well, first of all, that's the name in Spanish. This is important because many people were asking in the Oaxaca workshop, what does this mean? And it's exactly the same name, but in Spanish. Just so if you see that anywhere in the news, anywhere, do know that it's us, right? Okay, so basically the problem we found was that community banks and saving co-ops were and still are in a very large part isolated from the financial system. And that becomes an issue not only for doing digital payments, but also for receiving remittances, because in many of these communities, you can only receive money in cash. So we decided we needed to find a solution that would allow all the social sectors, so saving co-ops, community banks, and other small institutions, to connect among them and through a single institution to the central bank too, so that they could benefit from everything that such a connection to the financial system implies. But there's a larger reason for that. Basically, we assume that when you have communities that have remittances, if you pass from a cash ecosystem to a digital ecosystem, you can make a big difference. Why? Because first of all, you'll have higher volumes of local savings and investments, right? Which will mean more credit opportunities for local productive projects. But wait, why are we saying that? Because for once, that money, that extra saving money, will go to community banks and saving co-ops, which have a local presence and which invest locally, not to national banks or not to international banks, which will not have an interest in investing in very small communities. So it's very important that we find this mechanism for getting into these communities. Thus, because there's more investment, then more employment and local opportunities, which will mean less inequality. Because right now, only those who receive remittances benefit from them. And instead, we want the entire community, through loans and investment, to benefit from such extra liquidity, extra capital coming into the communities. And thus, that means more regional well-being and less economic migration, right? Right now, I don't know if you saw yesterday's debate in the US, but the root causes of migrations were mentioned, right? Well, the root causes of migration, the best strategy that you can do is this, right? Is allowing people to benefit their communities directly in a very simple, very straightforward way, right? You do not need more than that. So 3 key objectives of what we're doing is community building, grassroots innovation, and financial empowerment. And we believe that's the essence of People's Clearinghouse, the essence of the association AMUX, which is behind People's Clearinghouse. And here we have an image of the current flows. It's a simplification, but the main corridors from which we are receiving remittances, right, into several community banks in Mexico. But once again, these are all cash flows. So with the help of the Interledger Foundation, we're transforming that into a digital flow. A quick reminder, we had a Oaxaca workshop just before the Cluj workshop, which had the very important and interesting people participating from around the world, from ILF, Michael Richards from Modular Foundation. There was also Pedro working now with the ILF. Well, we named them all, right? We had Alex, we had Jason, we had Max, we had Juler, Am I missing anybody? I hope not. And it was extremely powerful. We also had fintech companies from Mexico who work with the social sector participating, and it was a very interesting meeting. So we also visited some community banks and saving co-ops. On the left, we have some employees of a community bank close to Oaxaca. On the right, we have a short flash meeting at the headquarters of the largest saving co-op of Oaxaca. And we even visited some communities where we saw, for instance, how they cultivate certain products. In this case, mezcal. Those are the mezcal plants. Okay, and you have the Interledger team. Okay. Now let's go into the details of what's been going on. Please, Roberto Carlos, if you can start.
Hey, hello everyone. I will talk to you about the CMP. And can we go to the next slide, please? So, with not that much experience, our new friend Rafiki was presented to us. And it was very particular because we can see all of its code, but we still don't understand how it works. So we can ask the creators right away. Can we go? Yeah, can we go to the next slide, please? So we got the Rafiki code, and we have some basic questions like, what do we do now? How can we set up Rafiki? How can we make it talk? How can we make Rafiki talk with our creation? And what does Rafiki tells us? So can we go to the next slide, please? We answered these questions that we can use Bruno to make it talk. We can use webhooks to catch what he's saying, and we can use mutations to talk to Rafiki. Now, can we go to the next slide, please? And what we achieved, we're going now to the Oaxaca workshop, work week. And this is the general flow of the peer-to, or the remittance scenario. So even though we gained a lot of experience and overcome many challenges, by solving these questions, we have now that on the USA, we send a remittance. This is using a Rafiki instance on the United States of America side. This can be, let's say, Rafiki Money, a Rafiki instance, or we even tried with Interledger Pay. So this creates a peer-to-peer transfers between the Rafiki in the USAs and the Rafiki CMP, that is a Rafiki instance owned by the People's Clearinghouse, or La Cámara de la Gente. And now the webhooks that the CMP throws are catched by the CNP backend, that's a server. And this, in the third step, makes a lookup to get the payees data. And before that, we make a module loop transfer. This module loop transfer allows us to get the money to the final payee and their savings account. And this is what we had on Oaxaca on the work week. Also, we integrated on that week the reporting, so the CMP admin module that lets us create a admin module that adapts to the Mexican regulation in order to have the reports of every remittance that goes from the USA to Mexico. And this is just an example of these reports. Can we go to the next slide, please? And what's next? So in the work week in Cluj, we make lots of new stuff. And this new stuff is, let's see, 2.1 that says accept or decline webhooks. And this is just general. The 7th step is to notify the status of the transfer. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what I mean by declined or accept the payment is the feature of Rafiki that is called actionable payments. This lets us to allow or decline an incoming payment between the Rafikis. All of this controlled by the ASE or the CNP backend, because the CNP backend will now analyze the payment and allowing it to pass or not pass. And we can go to the next slide, please.
Well, just mention that this presentation, this graph, this is max graph. Okay. Just, okay.
Yes. Also, the next is a max modified version. This is the update payment with status. We have the normal flow here, but now on the ASC can say, is the module loop transfer done? If is it or is not, now we can use a mutation to modify the metadata of the incoming payment. This, can we go back, please? This gives us the updated incoming payment, and now the Rafiki in the USA can just get the payment and know what's the status of the transfer. So let's stop here for a minute. This is about it, about the CMP backend. But obviously, now we want to thank the Rafiki team, especially to Jason, Sabine today, and our Gallo Max, because we're building a project that will impact in a very positive ways our communities.
Very good. Okay. Well, there are some other features that are being implemented, right? But I think that's good for a summary. Okay. Thanks, Lord. Adriana, please.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about the technological challenges faced by microbanks and how we have worked to provide effective solutions. These institutions have very limited access to technology, although they manage databases, and these are often complicated and have limited capacity to handle information. And they use a core banking system called ISIS, but ISIS has limited interconnectivity to facilitate that data access. This means that users cannot easily perform transactions without going to a branch. Uh, Roberto, the next slide, please. Yes. To address this, we created APIs and a connector called LCC. The LCC is a solution provided by TitsaWorks, and LCC means like lightweight connector, which functions as a translator between the system module loop and the APIs. The LCC has 3 key points. One, then send money, accept party, and accept quote. These systems allows transfer to be made efficiently by connecting directly to the switch. Initially, it was implemented only for the CNP. And the diagram, we see a WhatsApp API as an additional solution to the lack of a banking apps. And so we decided to use WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a very popular application among users in rural areas and migrant communities. And the next slide, please. We developed a chatbot that allows users to check their balance and make transfer quickly and easily. We also created a lookup API, which enables us to obtain the information of both the sender and the receiver, facilitating transfer to WhatsApp using the LCC connector. With this system and what my partner showed, in August, we managed to do a full demonstration of transaction for the United States to Mexico and local transfers too. The next slide, please. Okay. Currently, we are in providing to the module loop switch. Yes. Thank you. Currently, we are in providing the module loop switch, which will allow us, once implemented, to reduce production cost with Google Cloud Platform. This will enable a direct connection without needing the LCC, making the process faster and more cost effective. And the project is almost ready to move into production using a cluster on GCP and integrating with the Sync PI. Okay, the next slide, please.
Okay, but maybe Sync API. Basically, we're simplifying the API connections between the switch and the community banks so that we can do a direct connection. That's what the key point there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, before I finish, I want to thank again to Interledger, especially Jason, Titsa Works, and Pedro Barreto. Together, we have achieved a solution that is not only technological but also social. Uh, our work is not just about technology, but about breaking down barriers and helping communities, one transaction at a time.
Thanks, Adriana. Okay, this is very nice. Okay, we try to do something that is high level. We have more specific documentation. We didn't want to take much time, but what's key here is that we did present a demo that is working in at the Oaxaca workshop, right? And right now we are working very hard to pass to the next level, which means using a new cluster that will reduce the cost of the switch infrastructure. And also we are doing the direct connections between the switch and the participants, which will make very efficient the model, both for domestic transfers and most of all for cross-border transfers with Rafiki. But for that to happen, we need to pass everything that already works into not using a connector. So it's a challenge. It's not that simple. It's not only a matter of the switch. Everything changes if we're doing direct connections. So we hope to be ready for the summit. I think we're going to be ready, but I mean, it's ongoing, and we're going to present a full demo of it working with direct connections, which will be the most efficient possible scenario that we can find now, and that will allow us to launch in the market with all the community banks and the saving co-ops which have now joined the project. We hope in the first quarter of 2025, and all of this for sure is only possible because of ILF support, which has been incredible. But we also need to give credit to the community banks which have accepted to collaborate in all of this, right? The saving co-ops which are joining the project, and the Central Bank of Mexico, which has been very patient because they are only waiting for our last modeling, which is happening as we speak, and we hope it's going to be ready in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, so that we can pass to the next stage, which will be with the pilot and with actual money. So thanks so much to everyone, and let's get ready for launch together.
Big thank you, Roberto and the team. Big thank you, Roberto, Carlos, Adriana, and everyone behind. I really love the presentation. Wow, it's really, really nice. Can't wait to see it at the summit too. We do have a couple of questions, maybe even more in the chat. First, an easy one. Kiara was asking if we can have the slides. Very beautiful. I also love the text on them and the design.
Of course, of course.
Thank you. Thanks, Roberto. And Jeremiah was asking how will People's Clearinghouse, La Cámara de la Gente, do the settlements between the US and Mexico institutional financial institutions?
So we're doing an open model which can have different settlement solutions, because in the future it needs to work with different possibilities. But the one which we have tried and we have calculated for is called Fed Global, and we're it's not cheating, but it's almost like cheating because it doesn't work in every country, and we're sorry that it doesn't work in every country. Basically, Fed Global is an interconnection between the Fed, the Atlanta Fed, and the Bank of Mexico that already exists for years. And thus it's very easy to use it for settlements as a public solution, the public rails for cross-border transfers. But it's very inefficient for individual remittances, and it's very efficient for high level remittances. So that's our initial model. It has some limitations with respect to FX and how it works, but it works, which is good. We will start with that, and then we will be considering other solutions. But that involves a whole discussion on the US side too. So for now, that's beyond our national context and research.
And thanks. It's good to know. Well, sometimes things go cross countries more closely, or some more extended, but it's good that you find a solution locally there for Mexico and US. So maybe in other countries too. Fernando is asking, what's the final scope of the project in terms of remittance reception? Will it be received in cash by the receiver, or will it be received in a digital wallet?
it will not receive in cash, but now it's received in cash. There's a money transmitter that belongs to the association, which is the owner of the project. AMUX, the Mexican Association of Social Sector Credit Unions. It's a very, very long name. And they receive money in cash. So we want to pass to receiving it in accounts. That doesn't necessarily mean a digital wallet. It can mean a digital wallet, or it can mean a traditional account, although not in a bank, but in a community bank. They are also account servicing entities, although they are not commercial banks as such.
Okie dokie. Thanks for the answer. And yeah, some more comments, lots of thank yous, appreciation for the slides. And yeah, big thank you, Roberto and the team, for sharing with us. And I'm very excited to see even more updates in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe I didn't mention it. Thanks so much to Pedro, who has done a lot of work to get us where we are. Thanks to Tadej. Without knowing us, he has been invaluable in allowing us to deploy. Jason, Max, Sabino, without them, I mean, it's incredible the support we have had from them. Thanks to all, really. The team has learned a lot. I think we're all very happy, and I'm particularly happy of how much PCH team has advanced thanks to that support. Thank you. And Michael
Yeah,
Richards,
I agree.
of course.
I saw.
Yeah.
Yes,
the
and
modular
everyone
foundation.
really. And yeah, sorry that we missed some of the names, but I also want to say that I saw the team working together, and yeah, big appreciation for everybody. It's really, really nice to see the progress done. Big thank you to everyone. Okay, we have a second deep dive this call, and I hope we have Santosh around. Let me check the list to take the floor.
Yes, yes.
Yes, go ahead, Santosh.
Yeah, give me a moment. Let me share my screen. Is my screen visible now? All right, let me start.
Yes.
So hi everyone.
Yes.
Is my screen visible? Okay, okay. Yes. All right. Hi everyone. I'm Santosh. I'm a former ambassador at the Interledger Foundation and also a web monetization community member. Following web monetization is something that also introduced me to Interledger, and I've been closely connected with Interledger for a few years now. And today I'll be talking about a developer guide to migrating to the latest draft. So before I talk more on the topic of migration, I hope like few of you are aware of web monetization, but people who are not aware of web monetization, let me give you an introduction. So web monetization is a JavaScript API that allows websites to automatically and passively receive payments from web monetization enabled users. So which means if you are a website owner, and or if you, I mean, for example, if you have a blog post on dev.to or any of the content websites, and if you add a wallet address to your website, and people who have installed web monetization provider, which is like an extension, then they will be able to make you payments when they are reading your content or consuming the content. If they like your content more, they can even tip as well. So to the tech that makes all this possible on a web page is what web monetization is. And if you have used Coil previously, a couple of years back, then Coil here is the web monetization provider, and you were making payments to the to the websites which had the wallet address or payment pointers at that time. You used to pay to those payment pointers. That's how it used to work before. And let's see how web monetization works using a sequence diagram. So here you can see like we have like 5 components. We have a developer or a website owner, and we have the website which he built, and then we have a website visitor who usually visits the website to consume its content or to go through it. And then there is an extension. The extension here is the web monetization provider, which actually makes payments to the website. And then you have a wallet. A wallet here is something that where you can create a wallet address, and not only the it's not only the create wallet address. It means creating a wallet address that is web monetization compatible. So these are the 5 components in a web monetization world. And the first thing that if you are a website owner or if you are a developer, what you will do is you will generate a wallet address on any of the wallet provider, Fynbos, for example, or GitHub, and then add that wallet address to your website. We'll talk more about how to add to your website in the next step, but that's the first step that you as a developer or a website owner has to do. And if I'm a website visitor who is going to consume your content or who is going to visit your website, and if I want to support the website that I'm going to visit, the first step I'm going to do is install a web monetization extension provider, and also I open the extension, which is the second step, and then I connect it to my wallet. So, for example, if I have a Fynbos wallet, I will open my extension. There are few steps to connect my Fynbos wallet. I'll connect to it, and then I'm done. So my connection is done. My wallet is connected to my extension, and now anytime I visit any of the websites, the payments start to happen from my wallet to the wallet address that is added to the website. So I visit the website, and as much time as I spend there, micro payments happen from my extension. The extension initiates the payment, and the payments happen from my wallet to the website owner's wallet directly. So this is the entire sequence of how web monetization works, considering all the actors in the web monetization world. And then now the first step, you as a web developer or a website owner has to monetize your website. How would you do it? So this is all you have to do. You will first generate your wallet address, and then you'll add these 2 lines of code using link tag, where you mention it's a monetization link tag, and you will also add the wallet address using href. If you are a website, if you are a JavaScript developer or a web developer in general, you use this link tag for adding CSS files or any other link, or to link any prefetching assets or anything on your web page using this link tag. So similarly, we use the same link tag to add your wallet address to the website. And this is how you web monetize your website. And the on monetization events that I attach here, this is something like, so for example, imagine you have a website which is dependent on ads for revenue. And now you have added your wallet address, and you want to provide customized experience for the web, for the people who are paying you with web monetization. So what you will do is, whenever a web monetized visitor visits your website, you will just turn off the ads for him. You will still serve ads for other people who are consuming your content. But since he is a web monetized visitor and he is making micropayments to your website, you will provide a better experience for him by disabling the ads. And that is where you will use this on monetization event. And now I talked about like adding the wallet address to your website and everything. Now let's get to the main topic of the story behind the latest draft and why the update was necessary. Remember the link tag that I was showing you in the previous tag? That is how you web monetize your website using the latest draft. But previously, if you were one of the people who used Coil, who were using web monetization during Coil days, the web monetization code used to be different, and it used to be the code that you write used to be different, and the web monetization used to happen in a different way from a developer perspective. And this is completely, the story is completely my personal opinion. I think this is what happened. So initially, when people who were interested in payments met together, and they came up with the concept of web monetization, because anything on the web is easy. If you want to send files, send messages, send emails, everything is easy. But when it comes to making payments, it becomes difficult. And if the payments are like cross-border, it becomes much more difficult. So that is why they got together and say, let's create a spec to where I can pay to the website directly, where if I have some money, I should be able to support and pay to a website directly. So that's how they created a spec, and they created a proof of concept, and that proof of concept was Coil, and Coil was using an original spec which is designed, and they were getting things to work, and everything was working perfectly fine. Now this was more around a single entity. Now, if the web monetization API, which is a JavaScript API, if I want this to be adopted by W3C, which decides on the web standards, I have to make changes to be more consistent and to make web monetization API closely align with other JavaScript features. So that is why there has been, the spec has evolved, and it has become simpler, and it has came to we have come to a place where this could be acceptable by the W3C consortium. And once it accepts and it becomes a standard, the browsers around the world will adopt the standard and implement this standard in their browser. So that is how web monetization, becoming a standard works. And that is how this draft was evolved, and that is why this update was necessary, to make sure that it becomes a web standard. And let's see what changed in the old draft. What was there in the old draft and how it was changed in the new draft. So if you were a website owner or who monetized your website during Coil days, then you must have be relating to this. So in the old draft, you used to add a meta tag, like I was showing you. The current one uses link tag, but previously it was a meta tag, and that is how you used to add the payment pointer to your website. And if you want to check if the browser has monetization support, then you used to check using the method of document.monetization. And then there were multiple events to check if you are getting payments, or if the payment stopped or something like that. And then all these monetization events like start, progress, and stop, you used to listen to them on the document object. So document object is one of the topmost hierarchy, is one of the topmost object in the DOM hierarchy, and accessing it is also an expensive operation. Now, fast forward to what have changed in the latest draft. So instead of the meta tag, you now use a link tag. And link tag also comes up with some existing features, such as you can check for support of monetization and other things. You don't have to explicitly implement something like document.monetization to check the web monetization support. You could instead use the same link tag that you created to check for monetization support. And also, instead of all these three things are combined into a single monetization events. If this event is getting triggered, that means you are receiving the payments. And then these events, monetization events, are also binded to the link tag that you added. They won't be binded to the document object. And if you see this is like much more simpler. And even when it comes to performance, I think this is much more performant than the previous one, because previously you used to access document object for anything, but now everything is surrounded around the link tag that you added. So these are the changes from the old draft to the latest draft. And if you are a website owner who had a payment pointer on your website, or if you were a library owner who has created libraries for multiple web frameworks to help developer monetize, to add web monetization to their websites, then you should follow this about like how you can now update your code to the latest draft. So although the spec has evolved, the libraries and website that we're using whole spec are not updated, and I think this is the right time to update your website and libraries. As Yona was telling you, we are already in private beta, and you can do this update and you can start testing the web monetization extension as well if you are interested. And website owners can update their old payment pointers that were generated using Coil to the new payment pointers, which can be generated using GitHub, Fynbos, or any other wallet provider. That will help you to generate those wallet addresses. And so this is how you used to monetize your code in old draft. And if you want to move your code to the new draft, then this is a change that you have to do. All you have to do is convert that meta to link tag and the name to rel, and the content will change to href. So this is how you can change the ad. This is how you can update the wallet address on your website if it was already built using the old draft. If you are adding it new for the first time, you can directly add the one that is on the right side, the link tag. And previously, if you want to, for example, like I was telling you, the ad experience that you want, if you want to check if the browser has monetization support, you used to use document.monetization to check that. But now currently that can be updated using the link tag. Link tag, you can add it and check if using this link tag, you can check if monetization is supported on the browser. And then all the monetization events that you used to have, you can combine all these things into a single monetization events. If this event is getting triggered, then that means you are receiving the payments. If the event is not getting triggered, that means you are not receiving the payments anymore. This is another change that you have to do. And so we talked about the 3 changes that you have to do. And I have written a blog about it, and you can read more about it on community.interledger.org as well. Now, if you are a web monetization enthusiast and if you want to contribute to web monetization, and this is how you can get involved. So like I was telling you, there were a lot of libraries built on OldSpec. You can scan this QR, which will link to the, which will show you the list of all the libraries that were built using OldSpec. And you can contribute and migrate those web monetization libraries from the old draft to the new much evolved draft. This will help other developers to continue using those libraries that were initially built to support the new web monetization draft. And you can join our community calls if you are excited about web monetization and if you want to hear all the updates. And if you want to get involved with the web monetization community, this is the right place for you to start. Join our community calls and say hi to us and see what people are building, and you can share what you have been building as well. This is the right platform for that. And read our monthly updates, silly post monthly updates on community.interledger.org about what is happening around web monetization for the whole month. And this link will redirect you to the August updates, and this will help you to keep yourself updated with the latest draft. And so this is the contribution guide, which is there on webmonetization.org. Apart from all those things that I mentioned in the previous slide, there are a lot of ways in which you could get involved with the web monetization community, contribute to web monetization, and take the standard forward and take this forward. I think this is a good place for you to start and see where you could help and get involved with web monetization. That's it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. You can reach me out on the community Slack as Santosh, and we can talk further on this. Thank you, everyone.
Really nicely done, Santosh. Amazing presentation. Thanks so much. Also, I love that you covered the monetization, and I see the whole, the whole mission of it, and I see so much enthusiasm in the chat. Really cool. Thanks, Tiffany, Tilly, and the rest for adding links and comments. Your blog was linked, the community updates was linked. And yes, we will have the slides. I think I heard that, and we can share more. And Santosh is reachable in the community Slack. Any questions directly for Santosh right now? As we are around the clock for the call. Oh, Adrian. Let's see.
I just wanted to add a quick comment. Santosh, that's awesome. Thank you for putting all of that together. Another really nice benefit of the link tag, which was one of the motivations, is that it's a common way to monetize podcast feeds, so RSS. So it makes it easier to put things like web monetization into other content, so markup-based content. No one's really been looking at that use case for a while, but it was a big driver when Coil was still around. There were some people very interested in figuring out how to monetize podcasts through the RSS feed by putting in a link tag.
Thanks for adding this, Adrian. And I agree, it's very important to have it as a link. And we just parked a bit the idea of podcast. As you said, we're gonna pick up on it, but after the summit and after we have this first iteration of the extension out, the web monetization work is not done. It's even more complex. This is just, the web extension is just a workaround to have it ready to be able for people to use it and to demo the power of such payments. And after that, we are continue our work to add it to more platforms or more type of content, regions and everything. It's a lot of work. This is literally just the beginning. And thanks, Chris, for adding the link. More context about the podcast nonprofit details. Grant for the web grant, I think. And when ready, soon, hopefully, to reconnect with that. So yeah, as I was saying, we are around the clock for the community call. We did have prepared 2 community shareouts and discussions. Unfortunately, I will have to invite Pinart and Visa Finance to demo it in the next call. Please feel free to add more written text in the agenda. And if you're able to join our next call in the 2nd week or 3rd week of October, I don't know the date yet, I think we'll be in the 3rd for them. Join us there and we'll have a demo back then. Thanks so much for everyone to join. Give us a feedback. I shared a lot of links in the comment section right now, but give us feedback about the call, what you want to see in the next one, anything that we would like to tackle more as a deep dive next time. We are definitely looking to improve the call and make it even better. Thanks everyone for joining and hope you have a wonderful day.